So you're ready to take the plunge to Dallas, Texas and move you and your family to the Lone Star State, but you don't want to make a mistake and move somewhere that you regret. So in this video, we're going to be showing you guys the top 5 places to live for families in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're going to cover everything you need to know. I'm talking schools and safety to traffic and shopping and everything in between. And we're going to show you guys houses that are on the market right now that you could buy today so you know exactly what to expect. This is the top 5 places to live in Dallas-Fort Worth in the 600,000 to 800,000s. Alright guys, if you've been keeping up with the rest of our video series so far, we've looked in the 400s, the 500s, and now we're looking in the upper price ranges. So for you fat cats out there that have a little bit more green to spend on a house, you've got a lot of options whenever it comes to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I kind of want to get started real quick. So we're actually going to be taking a look at everything through Google Maps. If you want to follow along, Google Maps is a great tool to kind of get your bearing about you, and also the Street View lets you get a feel for the areas as we go along. But feel free to follow along as we do this. So just to give you guys a lay of the land, we've got Dallas-Fort Worth here on the map. You can't really see the Dallas moniker. Google Maps is being a little weird there. But you see we got Dallas here on the right, Fort Worth on the left, and Arlington in the middle. And we're actually going to start our journey here with Arlington because oddly enough, there's a lot going on in Arlington. I'm sure you know that, but there is actually a really nice community in this price range that I want to point out because we're getting close to the end of this one. It's in its closeout phase, which means that you don't have a lot of opportunities left. And we're going to take a look at some of those properties here in a minute, but let me tell you a little bit more about Arlington, the area itself. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on in Arlington. We've got Texas Live, which is a big event center with sports complexes and restaurants and all these other things going on. It's kind of where everything's happening in Arlington. It's here up in the northeastern part of Arlington, so right in the center of the Metroplex and super close to the airport. So you get a lot of people coming in there like movie stars, famous politicians like the president stopped by there. We've had plenty of athletes and everything stop by the area. So you're going to see a lot of very recognizable faces in this area. On top of that, you've also got theme parks like Six Flags. You've got Hawaiian Falls, the water park, just a litany of things to do, and it is unending. On top of that, the shopping and restaurant opportunities are bar none. Like no other place in the Metroplex, save for maybe downtown Dallas or Fort Worth, would even hold a candle to all the things that are going on right here in the center of the Metroplex. And that lends itself really well to you guys, but I know the very first thing that's coming to your mind is that sounds like there's going to be a lot of traffic in that area. And luckily for you, the neighborhood that we have is a bit of a hidden gem, or I guess I should say a hidden emerald, because it's Viridian. And we've talked about this in some of our other neighborhoods, or our other neighborhood videos, and it's a very popular choice for people that are moving to the area for several reasons that we'll get into here in a little bit. But I do want to point it out here because, like I said, they're basically on their last phase, and there's not a lot of opportunities for houses that are new houses, at least. So before we jump into all the new house stuff, I do want to mention we also sell pre-existing homes. If that's something you're interested in, give us a call. We'll help you out, but that's a little bit more involved. So for right now, we want to look at the brand new shiny stuff, and we're going to show you guys that here in a second. But to give you the bearings on Arlington itself, I don't want to just give you guys word of mouth. I actually want to be able to show you guys something. So one of the important things that people moving to Dallas-Fort Worth, one of the first things they ask us about are how are the schools, how are the safety? Because when it comes to your family, especially your kids, you want what's best for them. And if you can give them the best schools, obviously that's going to be priority number 1. Safety is probably priority number 2, or maybe tied for number 1. But we're going to take a look at this real quick because we actually get most of our school data from niche.com, or niche, however you want to pronounce it. But since we're not school experts, and I myself don't have children, I like to refer to people that do for their opinions, because these are firsthand experiences as well as metrics that are graded by experts. So we use that for the vast majority of our school research, and it's a very powerful tool that most people have access to. So if you want to look this stuff up yourself, feel free to do a little bit further research, but we're going to take a look at Arlington ISD, because that is the school district that it's in. And being a larger city, you're going to see it's a little bit average, so nothing crazy going on there as far as the school districts go. But one thing I do want to point out is that Arlington ISD, while the public school may be not as illustrious as some other ones. I do want to point out that Arlington also has a lot of, you can see here, there are a bunch of A-rated schools throughout Arlington, and a lot of these are actually charter schools. Now, luckily for you guys, if you can afford a house in the $600,000 to $800,000 range, you probably got a little bit of extra scratch to throw at your kids' education, which bodes very well, because if you don't want them going through public school, and maybe private schools a little too religious or too secular for your taste, charter schools have started becoming a very popular option for people, especially in the larger cities like Dallas, Fort Worth, and in this case, Arlington. Basically, charter schools are kind of like a privately funded schools. They are much more incentivized to have good educational programs than something that is, say, funded by tax dollars, which means that they are very performance driven, and that bodes well for the children that go to them as well. So if that's something that's very important to you, I'd highly advise you to take a look at some of the options that you have in this area, because you definitely don't want to miss out on the housing opportunity that these guys have to offer. As far as safety goes, I'd say Arlington's pretty on par. Don't get me wrong, there are some parts, if you go into, like, say, the northwestern part of Arlington, where it gets a little bit more industrial, you're going to see a slight decline in safety in that area. But like I said, it's industrial. Most people aren't really living over in that part of Arlington. As far as the residential portions go, there's really no issue that, it's on par with the rest of the safety in the rest of the Metroplex, which I think is great, especially considering how well developed the Arlington area is. I know that's a concern for a lot of people. So moving on from that, I do want to actually point something out, because while we're here on Google Maps, I want to say, if you are in Viridian, you can even see the little moniker for it right here. I'll go ahead and zoom in on it in a little bit. There's a little entryway thing. They got this big V at the entryway. It's very recognizable. You can't miss it. And you can see the lake and everything. We'll get to that in a second. But so this way, you can kind of see it as we zoom out here. You have a better idea of where it's at. And we're going to talk about some other areas if you're not into the Arlington thing, so don't worry about that. We'll cover areas like Frisco, Salina, and a few other choice options, as well as, actually, I've got a bit of a sneak peek for you guys. If you're looking to get the absolute bleeding edge information on master plan communities, I've got an absolute banger coming up towards the end of this video, so just hang around for a bit. But we've got the Dallas-Fort Worth airport right here. I'm talking, that's like not even 10 minutes to get to the airport. And so a lot of people, especially in this price range, maybe traveling nurses or doctors, C-suite executives, a lot of head chefs also move to this area. So a lot of very important people that need to travel a lot for work. And so this has become, like, hands down, one of the best places for a lot of these people to live if they don't want to deal with any drive time whatsoever. Like, if you need to get to the airport, you're immediately at the south side entrance to DFW AI. So a lot of people, or IA, I'm sorry, a lot of people opt for, like, the mid Arlington area, like Viridian. And on top of that, you're also basically bisecting the distance between Fort Worth and Dallas. So maybe you work in, like following the doctor option, or like a pilot option. Maybe you work in Love Field. You're only about 20 minutes to Love Field from here, or the Parkland over here in North Dallas. Or maybe you work over in the Alliance area. I mean, you're probably at about 25 minutes to get to the Alliance Medical Center, or down by the Magnolia Medical Center, 15 minutes. So it's a really nice spot for a lot of people, especially if they work in a lot of these fields. And it's drawn a lot of people to the area. As you saw earlier, it's a very, very large development here. So just taking a look at the map, it's expanded quite a bit. So a lot of this is green space over here. I think there may be future development. At the moment, I think they're between phases. Viridian had a bit of a slowdown in development because they're working on closing out the old phases. Actually, let me take a look here. So we'll take a look at the satellite view. You can get a better idea. Yeah, see, they've got a lot of... they got the lakes and everything over here. This is actually part of the expansion that they're still working on, and there's a little bit of space up in here that I believe they're going to be breaking into. These are all like townhomes and stuff like that, and then these just huge swaths of residential over here, as well as a big big park in the middle. They've even got an island and a yacht club, if you can believe that. I mean, I know there's a ton of water here, but the fact that they were able to accommodate an entire yacht club in the neighborhood is crazy. You can even see it right here. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's the bulk of what's going on in Arlington. And I know it doesn't get a lot of publicity for a lot of people because you got two of the largest cities in America on either side of it. So it kind of gets overshadowed by its bigger brothers. But that's why I kind of want to point this one out here. So while we're in the area, let me talk a little bit. I know I mentioned that they have a yacht club and a little bit about the housing situation over here, but Viridian actually has a lot going on for it. So you've got several pools. You've got a couple of amenity centers. There's plenty of parks, obviously, tons of green space and water. You've also got a lot of what they call hike and bike trails. Now, to be fair, I know a lot of builders will fluff up the size or length of their trail numbers by including sidewalks and stuff like that, but they actually have dedicated like bike path size trails throughout the neighborhood. So you've got plenty of it, even if you don't want to include sidewalks in your walking trail numbers. You're not going to be hurting for any of that there. And I know a lot of people actually, this one is kind of a seller for some people. A lot of people who have aging family members or people who are retiring and they want, like, maybe they got baby chasing grandparents that want to hang around for the grandkids or great grandkids, and you want them close by, or maybe, you just want to live close to your family. I get it. They've got an entire section at the back of Viridian that they call the Elements, which is a 55 and up community. So only people who are 55 and older can live or can like own a house in this community, in this part of the community. So it's going to be more people their age, more retirees, people getting into the twilight years, things like that. Not to say 55 twilight years, but a lot of people, usually whenever they've got age restricted neighborhoods like 55 and 65 and up communities, a lot of times it's parents who are getting older need to be close to somebody who can take care of them. So people who are looking for a situation like that, there's actually specific accommodations, and they are very nice houses. I've been through basically every builder's house that they have out there in the Elements, and it's just as nice. And in some cases, depending on the product you're looking at, they've got some nicer options for the 55 and up portion of the neighborhood. They've actually got one house. I don't know if we'll be able to see it here. So let me take a look at it real quick, because I think there's one active listing in the Elements at the moment. If I go ahead and zoom in here, this is the MLS, by the way. We're also going to be using this throughout the video. The MLS, or multiple listing systems, is like the back end that real estate agents use. If you're not familiar with it, this is basically where we get to see all of the listings that are on the market, that are coming on the market, and any past listings, as well as some extra information that doesn't make it onto the front end of the internet. So you're going to get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain here at the big green man, but if we zoom here on Viridian, like I said, they're kind of in between phases, so we've only got one listing active at the moment. As far as new homes go, there's plenty of pre-existing homes, but I've gone ahead and filtered those out. In this price range, we do actually have something in the Elements. It's by David Weekley Homes. Now, David Weekley's kind of a household name. They're all over America, so you're going to be pretty familiar with the name, and you may even be a little bit familiar with the style if you've been through some of these houses. But we'll take a look at it real quick, because we're looking at about 2,500 square feet, sitting on a smaller lot. Now, these are going to be thinner homes. I believe they're 40 and 50-foot home sites in the Elements. They sold out of 50s really quickly, but I know they have some smaller ones, and especially for people who are getting up there in years, they don't want to do a bunch of yard work. You may have a gardener or a green thumb in the family, but even then, they may not necessarily want to be pushing a mower all the time. So smaller yards tend to be really popular as people get older. And maybe they don't need the space for kids to run around in. Just something for the dog to do its business. But we're looking at about the mid-high sixes at the moment. Unfortunately, David Weekley failed to include any photos of the inside of it, but you get an idea of the living room here. We're going to go ahead, because we actually have some B-roll from some of the model homes that they have over there at the Elements. I'd love for Neil, our editor, if he could put some of those on the screen so you guys can get a better feel for it. But you're going to get a lot of cool architectural features in these houses. Large vaulted ceilings, high ceilings, transom windows, big sliding glass doors in some cases. Actually, some of these floor plans actually have very fun layouts. The one that we saw had its giant covered patio area, and they'd done it up really nicely with like an outdoor dining set and lighting and everything. They also had, it was almost a shotgun style living room layout. So you had the kitchen overlooked the dining area and the living room, big fireplace in the corner, the works. So now David Weekley has some very fun floor plans, as I like to describe it. It may not necessarily be the most traditional stuff, but it's not so outlandish that somebody can't enjoy it. So I'm a big fan of their stuff, but they're them and I forget who the other builder is out there, but you're going to see a lot of really pretty houses out in Viridian. I'm a huge fan of the architecture. They've got some of these houses have almost a craftsman style to the front of them, while others have more of the American traditional. And while they are different styles and different flares, it all kind of blends together. The developer did a really good job making sure everything works really well. But like I said, if Arlington's not really your thing, we're going to go ahead and take a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump over to a more popular option a lot of people have had their eye on for a while, and that's Frisco. Now, during 2020, Frisco really kicked off. I mean, Frisco's always been a really nice area, and its proximity to Dallas and the Louisville area, as well as how close it is to the lake, has always been desirable for people. But when 2020 kicked off and a lot of people, especially from like California and New York and these other cost prohibitive places, realized that they could work remotely, they flocked to Frisco. And man, when people with that kind of money are moving to an area that's already very just financially primed to kick off, it was a powder keg, and so much infrastructure and development and future potential was just injected into the area, and people are still clamoring to get into Frisco. Now, if we take a look here real quick, you can kind of see, as far as this price range goes, I'll be perfectly honest, the bulk of the new homes that are in Frisco are going to be closer to the 900,000s and up, but there are a few options, and there are some actually really good neighborhoods that do dip into this price range. So I want to point them out because there's not going to be a ton of these left, and I don't foresee it being available in the near future. But for those of you that are watching and curious, go ahead, reach out to us because we do have some options here. We're going to point those out in a second. While I'm actually talking about Frisco, let's get a quick satellite view of it. Let me switch back over to Google Maps, get this out of the way, Viridian. We're done talking about you. You're great, but let's jump over to the topic at hand. Frisco has a lot going on. I mean, obviously we've got the there's what we call the Star, which is, if you don't know, the Dallas Cowboys, their emblem, our football team, their emblem is a star. It's a big blue star. You know, we them boys and all that jazz. This is our year. Every year. Never happens. But for the diehard fans out there, there's a big sports center specifically based around the Dallas Cowboys stadium where they go practice, where all their games are, and it's called the Star. It's a really nice setup. They've got all these restaurants and shops, and everything's just like, the infrastructure is really tall and grand, and it just feels very football over there. So it's a really popular destination, as well as there's a bunch of medical facilities over in this area. So a lot of people, especially the more wealthy people, as they get older, you know, time catches up to you. You want to stay nice and healthy as long as you can. And obviously these people with enough money have, you know, forced a lot of development in the medical field over here. So obviously some very nice hospitals have started popping up. There were some previously as well, but a lot more specializations have started moving to the area as well. It looks like my cursor ran across an urban air trampoline park. So, hey, if you are young and spry, you got something to hop around on. But let me take a quick look at the satellite view here, because you can see all along the, what is this? The Dallas Parkway. The Dallas North Tollway, I'm sorry, right all across the tollway, you see there's a ton of commercial development. Costco, it looks like we got a school here. H-E-B, if you've never been to an H-E-B, dude, Texas does everything bigger and better, and even our grocery stores blow people away. I had a client who moved here from New Jersey, and he was moving up the street from a brand new H-E-B on the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex, and I implored him and his wife to go check it out because I hadn't been to that one, but I know how H-E-Bs are, and they're nice. He gets there, and this man is absolutely blown away. I mean, he is starstruck by how, you know, crazy this place is. Like, it's not just a grocery store. It's got all these different shops in it. They've got, some of them have little restaurants and everything in it, but it's all done up really nicely. So it's like a Costco on steroids. It's a really nice place to shop, and they got one down here. Not to languish on too long about H-E-B or anything, but you can see there's a ton of commercial space in this area, which means there's a ton of things to do. On top of that, Frisco is also it is going to be the site of a brand new Universal Studio Park. So if we actually look over here, I believe so here's two things. So obviously, Dude Perfect is headquarters out of here. So if you ever follow those guys, they do a lot of their administrative stuff and some of the filming over in this area. You've also got where it says Colin here. This is actually going to be the site of the new Universal Studios Family Park. So there's going to be a new theme park in this area. It's been under development for a while, but it's going to be huge. That means a lot more tourism and a lot more money and a lot more commerce and hopefully better property values as the time goes on. And it's also the site of the PGA. What is this? The Omni is what they call it. It's a big resort, the headquarters for the PGA. And obviously they got a golf course there, but there's also like a covered golf area for like driving where they'll come and serve drinks, kind of like a really, really fancy Top Golf, some indoor stuff as well. So it's kind of a golf nut's dream. And a lot of people have started, moving to the area for stuff like this. Basically, I'm just saying that some really big names are moving to the area, and that bodes really well for the people that live there. Obviously, you got big green spaces. There's another golf course over here. But, let's talk about the schools, because obviously there's a ton of things to do. I'm not trying to just hang on this too long, but Frisco ISD, obviously, when you got that kind of money, your schools are also going to be really good. Basically, A's across the board. Let me talk about this real quick, because I know that looks really bad, but if you watch the other two videos in this series, you'll understand, for whatever reason, schools tend to suffer in the resources and facilities department. If I had to venture a guess, this is because they can only fit so many bodies in a school. Like, obviously, square footage is going to be the limiting factor. It's not very easy to expand a school. Classrooms may get a little cramped, or like they may not necessarily have facilities for specific electives, things like that. So that's going to be a bit of a limiting factor. And then school food. Food always sucks at school. Nobody likes cafeteria food. So, take these with a grain of salt, but otherwise, A's across the board. Everyone just lauds over how great the Frisco ISD is. So on top of those charter schools that I mentioned previously, if your kid does end up in public school, or maybe you prefer them at public school, whatever the case may be, they're going to good schools. You don't have to worry about that. On top of that, safety is really good in Frisco. They put a lot of money into the law enforcement. The law enforcement is very well equipped. And I will say, with a personal experience of having dealt with their law enforcement, the law enforcement is also very polite, which is really nice. They're not over there obviously they got to do their job, but they're very courteous about how they interact with their citizens. So really good training on their part. Now, one thing I will note is the bulk of, I say, crime or lack of safety, but that makes it sound really negative. The high point of the possibility for less safety is going to be around this area here. Like in the more commercial industrial part of Frisco, you're more likely to run into altercations or issues. And that's not to say that you're going to run into those. That's just the nature of most developing areas. Your industrial and commercial areas are going to be higher crime than your residential areas. Now, that being said, Frisco's got phenomenal crime rate. Not saying their crime is good. I'm saying their crime rate is phenomenal. It's very low compared to the rest of the comparable cities around it, and even lower than the average for DFW as a whole. So as far as safety goes, you really can't hold a candle to Frisco. On top of that, it's just really nice. Since everything's so new, the area is just filled with this really well taken care of infrastructure. Everything looks really clean. It's very well taken care of. The roads are smooth. There's no potholes or anything crazy going on there. So they do a good job of taking care of what they have, as well as, putting down a lot of new stuff to accommodate for the influx of people. But enough about Frisco itself. Let's take a look at some of these houses, because I do want to point out this one neighborhood. It is also getting towards the end of its selling phase. There's not a lot of opportunities left in this neighborhood, but in this price range, you can snag a couple of really good deals here. So let's take a look at a couple of these, because this one's in the low sevens at the moment. I think that's actually a townhome. Let's not look at those. Let's see if we can get a single family house. All right, Taylor Morrison. Now, Taylor Morrison does mid-upper range houses. They're technically a semi-custom home builder, and I believe their parent company, Oh man, I can never remember their name, and I didn't look it up from the other videos, but their parent company is actually a very well-known builder, like nationally. Like a lot of people know the name. I recognized it as soon as somebody had mentioned it, but I had no idea that they actually own Taylor Morrison. Now, they're not a huge name in the DFW area, but I've always noticed as you go higher in the price point and you start to get towards that $700,000 range, they start to pop up every here and there. But they make a decent house, some really interesting floor plans, cool architectural flares. Now, this looks like a 40-foot wide lot, and I will say that this is the Fields of Frisco. So the Fields of Frisco it's this master plan community with all of these green spaces. That's why they call it the Fields. But it's got an amenity center with a pool. Actually, the amenity center is really nice. It's huge, and it's got all these meeting spaces and gathering spaces in it. A resort style pool, a playground, a really nice playground for the kids. A creek that goes all along the outside of the neighborhood. So very desirable place to live, and the housing prices shot up. Whenever they first started selling, I was talking to the sales rep for one of the builders, and they were selling some of these in the mid to upper fives now, and that was for like a 50-foot lot. Technically one of the smaller lots, because I think they have some that go up to 70 in this neighborhood, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm talking some of these houses are up in the 1.2 to 1.5 million easily. So a lot of the houses that are under that $900,000 mark that I was talking about earlier are going to be on these 40-foot lots. So they're going to be a little bit narrower. You're still getting a decent amount of house. If we take a look at this is still very much a family-sized house at almost 2,500 square feet, 3 beds, and 4 total bathrooms. But here, taking a look at this real quick, I did want to give you guys a quick little heads up that there are going to be some smaller lots in this neighborhood, but I didn't want y'all to miss out on an opportunity. I don't know why they're showing me the bedroom first. Show me something cool like the kitchen. Here we go. There's still beautiful houses. I'm talking like double uppers with the glass on the transoms up here. Decorative range hoods. It looked like they did herringbone or something for the tile pattern back here, or that may be diamond. I'm not sure, but waterfall on the islands. Everything's nice, crisp. Looks like they did tumbler style cabinets. Everything comes with hardware. I imagine it's nice hardware too. A lot of times it's things like Moen or Delta. This is like a luxury vinyl plank, and not just like luxury vinyl plank, like an actual luxury vinyl plank. So they use really good materials in all of their stuff. Everything's very cohesive, coherent. It all goes together very well while still being palatable enough that you can put your own decorative flair on it. So you can kind of see everything's a very light color. It's not going to clash with anything you put in it, even if it's very bold or outstanding. Decorative banisters all across the top. Which, hey, if you have kids, that may not be the play, because depending on how rowdy your kids get, I know some people don't like the half wall on the second floor, but I grew up in a family of basically all boys. One sister in a clutch of 5 kids. So she loved her life. Don't get, I'm sure, but it just means that if they're upstairs making a bunch of noise and you've got those banisters, if that's the kinds of kids you have, that may not be the way to go. You may want to go with the half wall. It kind of helps block out some of that noise. But here we got the master bedroom right here, and you can see nice big picture windows. It looks like, oh no, that's an egress window. So nice, really big windows either way. Obviously, you get window sills, nice tall baseboards, vaulted ceiling, and everything like that. And I was hoping they would show the bathroom, but here's a quick look at the living room area. Opens up to the balcony and everything. And they did put picture windows up here, so that's really nice, because if you don't know, a picture window doesn't have like all the hardware and everything. There's no like slats or any supports that go across it, and they usually don't open. You've seen those slide up windows, but all that hardware, well, you may not notice it at first. Whenever you see a picture window, it really does help make a space feel and look a lot brighter and more open. So it's a slightly more expensive option. In some cases in bedrooms, they won't do it because of safety. But in the living room, it looks phenomenal. It looks like they also got a sliding glass over here for the side yard. But here's some photos without all the staged furniture and everything. Get a better idea of how everything looks. Gas, appliances. But yeah, I was hoping for a photo of the master bath. Did I miss it? Okay, here we go. So double vanities. Looks like they got 1.5 inches of granite up here, so it's got a bit more of a premium feel. Same hardware and look as the kitchen. They even went with the sconces and everything up here. A little overhead lights, vanity lights. Secondary bathroom there. But yeah, no, really good materials. And I'm a big fan of Taylor Morrison's style. Sorry. We don't have a lot of experience working with them, but so far I've always been I've always been pretty impressed. Now, this one's Olivia Clark Homes. I think this may be a townhome by the look of it. We'll go ahead and take a look at one of theirs. So, yeah, so this is a townhouse right here. We'll take a look because I know some people, especially older people, end up looking more towards townhomes because there's a lot of stuff that's taken care of for them in townhomes. A lot of times, HOAs will take care of the front yard, and in a lot of cases, the entire exterior of a townhome. So people, as they get up in age and don't want to deal with that kind of stuff, it's really nice to have that kind of load taken off of them. So we'll take a quick look at it because the townhomes here are really nice as well. You're looking at about 2,200 square feet for something like this. Looks like this one's got some decorative wood shiplap out front. I do like that natural wood look that they have going on as well as the dark trim. It all flows really well while giving it a little pop of color. Okay, so material choices, floor plan. Here's a cool look at it. I do like that herringbone. So this is, honestly, that's a very cost-effective way to get a little bit of detail going on without just breaking the bank doing something like brick or stone all the way up. May not be your taste, but I do like stuff like that and them getting creative. LVP, nice all baseboards. You got pretty standard windows, nothing crazy here. Decorative banister, wood tone flooring on the stairs. Let's get a look at the kitchen. Here we go. And we're kind of learning together. I've never actually been through a, what was this? It was Olivia Clark Homes. I've never actually been through an Olivia Clark home, so we're gonna experience this together. But I do like looking at new homes, and honestly, all of the stuff in Fields at Frisco is beautiful. So I like that. Really big island over here, kind of sideways. I don't know how I feel about the island actually facing, because we got a sink right here. It kind of faces the window. I guess if you want to look outside, that's cool. But a lot of people, what I've noticed is they want their kitchen to kind of face into the living room because, and I didn't realize I did this until somebody else pointed it out that they like doing this. What I'll do, because I've got a little window in front of my sink, I'll take my phone, put on YouTube or TV or something on my phone and set it on the windowsill while I do the dishes or prep and cook. And I didn't realize this until I had a client say something about it, but she liked the island facing the facing the TV, so that way she can watch TV while she works. So I don't know, maybe we're the weird ones, but I thought it was a great idea. We've also got the master bedroom here. It looks like you have a little, I assume that's a closet. Maybe that's the entrance into the bedroom. A couple of windows over there, saloon style doors going into the master bathroom. These photos are all over the place. I was hoping to see the bathroom next. Okay, here we go. We got the kitchen. Two-tone here with a different color island. Light on dark. Little, almost like, kind of like a honeycomb, an extended honeycomb over there. 8-foot doors throughout the house, which really does give it a really nice grand feel. Especially with these tall ceilings. You go ahead and put like 10, 12-foot ceilings with a 7-foot door, it's going to look kind of weird. So those 8-foot doors really do make it feel a lot more, it gives it a lot more oomph, you know? They didn't put hardware on there, which some people are one way or the other about this. Now, I kind of want y'all's opinion on it because some people love it, some people hate it. But builders will, in some cases, save money on hardware and not put it on cabinets in the kitchen or in the bathroom sometimes. But that may be to your advantage because I know some builders will just put single pulls on things like drawers, which means you have one hole in the middle. But if you want something like a bar pull, you're going to have 2 holes that you got to drill, which means you either have to have an exposed hole in your drawer, replace the drawer, or put a plate over that hole. And it may not necessarily look all that nice. So it may be to your benefit if you don't like the builder style and maybe you want to swap out hardware. Like, as I know a lot of builders may not do something like a brushed bronze or a brushed brass. It's a little bit less popular. They go with something like black or, you know, satin nickel, which is very popular and easy to deal with. Looks like stainless steel. And if that's not your style, you may want to swap things out. So it kind of gives you that option. I do like that shower arrangement. It's not quite a frameless shower glass, but the fact that you can kind of like, I don't know, it takes up the whole space while still making it feel very open with how much glass is there. It's kind of a cool look. And I assume these are closets on either side. His and her vanities, really nice. You could have framed these mirrors. Now, we may see this in one of the other houses, and I pointed this out in the other videos, but it's a really cheap and easy thing that you can do to make your bathroom pop, is if you take one of these builder grade mirrors where it's just a cut piece of glass and get a picture frame that fits the mirror and put it around the edge. Oh, excuse me. It's really going to change the way that the mirror feels without eating up any real visual real estate. And it's going to completely just add so much luxury feel to your bathroom. I'm serious. It's going to make it pop. We'll find one of these houses that has it in there, and I'll show you guys. You'll see exactly what I mean. Maybe there's one of these that has it here. So Normandy Homes. Let's take a look at theirs too, because I believe this is also in Fields. No, it's not. It's in Hazelwood, which is close by, but it's still in the price range. So we'll take a look at it. It's like right next door to the Fields. Maybe they've got a photo of theirs. Okay, you can kind of see more tumbler style cabinets. I think this is maybe like a tick down for what we just took a look at as far as outfitting goes. Yeah, no waterfall or anything, but they did put like decorative paneling along the sides. I want to see a photo of their bathroom. Maybe they got a photo of it. Yeah, here we go. See, something as small as this just adds like it adds like an oomph to the decor in your bathroom. So very easy thing you can do even after the fact, even if you don't have a new home or whatever, or the builder doesn't provide it. But yeah, honestly, Frisco's got a lot of neighborhoods kind of like that. And if you can't get into Frisco, you can see right up here, Prosper has a lot of options as well. Mustang Lakes. There's, oh my God, what's it called? Windsong. Beautiful communities, crazy amenities, lovely houses. I would say go check those out. We've actually got a video on all of that if you want a little bit more in depth, but we're not going to go into that in this video. So go check those out if that's something you're interested in. At the moment, we're actually going to be taking a bit of a dip down to Allen. Now, Allen, Texas is right here. I actually overshot a little bit. I want to point out Allen because I'll be honest, you're not going to get a lot of new homes in Allen. Allen is an older area. It's a little bit more built out, but Allen has phenomenal schools with phenomenal sports programs. So a lot of people move there regardless of whether they have new homes or not. They do have some one-off builds. Like we'll take a look at this one here in a second. They usually like either remodels or tear downs and rebuilds because Allen's been around a while. I want to say most of the houses in Allen, you're probably going to look at like the 2000s era, late 90s, early 2000s as far as architecture and things go, which was a good era. I mean, you still had brick-sided houses, not a lot of new growth in construction at that point, kind of in a transitional phase, but you still get a lot of the amenities like a slab concrete, PVC plumbing, things like that. But we're going to talk about Allen because, to be perfectly honest, there's not a lot going on as far as things to do in Allen, Texas. There's like, I mean, you got your small strip malls. These are more like upper middle class scale strip malls with like restaurants, some doctor's offices, some shops, things like that. But there's not a lot of nightlife and things in Allen. And I think some people who are looking just for really nice, quiet residential, they love that. And another huge appeal to Allen is, if you don't know this, is right up the street from McKinney. Now, McKinney is a burgeoning city with, honestly, it's got a really cool downtown. Lots of restaurants, shops, some nightlife, things like that. But it's also very urban and dense. There's a lot going on in McKinney, so it can be a little much for some people. And I think Allen has a lot more going on for it. So if we take a look here at the satellite view, obviously you got a little bit of commerce and stuff. You got your shops, Home Depots, Chick-fil-A's and whatnot all along the 75, but the vast majority, aside from the high school, which is very sought after, is all residential. You can see you got residents over here, but there's not much else going on in Allen. So the vast majority of people that move to Allen are there for living, which means it's very safe. And they put a lot of effort into their schools. I'm not just yanking your chain on that. Let me see. I don't know if Allen is their own school district. Let's see. It is. Okay, cool. But so a little background on me. I went to Flower Mound High School in Louisville ISD. Louisville ISD is okay, but Flower Mound High School is really good. And we actually have a really good wrestling program. The thing is, Allen basically 9 out of 10 times would kick our butt left, right, and center. It was annoying, to say the least, and they pride themselves on being really good at sports, and it shows. I'm not saying that they recruit, but that was kind of the rumor. And hey, even that thing that all the other schools struggled with, Allen ISD is crushing it. Even their food is good. Oh my God, they got an A+ on food. That's probably why they're doing so much better on the wrestling program. They actually want to eat the stuff they put in the cafeteria. Anyway, it gets praised all the time. A lot of people who are looking for the absolute best schools go to like one of 5 school districts. It's usually either South Lake, it's Keller, it's Argyle, it's Aledo, or it's Allen. There's like if it's a no compromise on schools, this is why I wanted to point this out, by the way. It's usually one of those 5 places. And we talk about some of those other school districts in the other videos, so go check those out if you're curious. They do have some stuff in this price range as well, but we're not going to touch on them since we kind of covered them already. But yeah, so no, phenomenal schools and really good sports programs. You can even see it got A rated on here. I feel like it should really be A plus, but they're also really good at band. I played French horn, and I saw a lot of people from Allen in the state chairs. So if you got one of those, this is definitely the place to be. But otherwise, like I said, it's not a whole heck of a lot going on in Allen. So let's take a look at some of the houses here, because honestly, there's not going to be a lot of new homes. It's Normandy homes again. But I do want to point out what they do have so you can get a better idea. So Twin Creeks Waters. I haven't been there personally. I think Tom may have been there at one point. But we saw Normandy homes a minute ago. You can kind of get another idea. I don't think their photos are all that great, but their houses are really nice. And they're kind of everywhere. So if you like their style, you can usually find Normandy homes across, especially on the Dallas side of the Metroplex. There's quite a bit of them. Tumbler style cabinets, shotgun style here with the sideways kitchen orientation. I do like that with a little dining nook kind of tucked away over here. Nice big windows. They're going to be getting plenty of light in this one. So this one's at about 2,700 square feet, 2-story house. Decorative paneling here. Herringbone on the backsplash. It looks like they did over and under lighting on the cabinetry here. That may be an option. A lot of times builders will do that because this looks like a model home. A lot of times builders will do that in their model home but won't actually offer it. But I mean, it's not super difficult to do if that's something you're interested in. You know, little pop up here, tray ceiling in the master bedroom. It looks like this is a really good sized master bedroom because that looks like a king size bed, some decent sized nightstands, and there's some space on either side of those. Plus, it's really deep. Oh man, I love that. Man, okay, so I'm not usually a big fan of galley style bathrooms, but I do actually really like this setup with the cabinet divider. This may just be my personal taste, but I like the way they did this. Again, framed mirror, looks great. Kind of a cream color throughout the house, white walls, but you know, like a beige or tan color on all the trim. And then here's actually a photo of the neighborhood itself. What do we got here? I actually can't tell what that is. They got some kind of, it looks like commercial development or commercial or maybe educational development going on there. But yeah, to be honest, like I said, there's not going to be a ton of new home development in Allen, but if you're looking at a pre-existing home and that's something you are interested in, I had to point this out because there's a lot of stuff in this price range in that area, and a lot of people, especially who are looking with families, end up gravitating to places like here or Plano in this little sector if they're trying to be on the Dallas side of the Metroplex. But since we went ahead and touched on that, while we're up in this area, another thing, I know we touched on Prosper earlier. We're not going to actually look at that because most of the options in this price range are actually in Salina. So if you can deal with an extra 5 to 8 minutes tacked on to your drive time to get to Frisco, Salina has become a very popular option, obviously. We've got a lot of stuff going on up here. So we got Taylor Morrison again there. We'll get to the houses in a second. Let me tell you a little bit about Salina because Salina used to be... Well, honestly, people didn't even know it existed until Frisco popped off. But being on 289, it makes it, Highway 289, it makes it very easy to get in and out of the Metroplex, especially with 380 intersecting it here. You could basically get anywhere in the northern part of the Metroplex very quickly. I say that 380 got really bad with traffic. They're working on it. A lot of development going on in this area, especially with how many people are moving here. Now, Salina itself was a very small town. They had like a sports field and a little bit of a old town square that kind of looked like something out of an old Western movie. But now it's just filled to the brim with master plan communities. Some of them are just as many houses as they can put down, as many lots. And then some of them are actually really nice master plan communities. Luckily, in this price range, you're getting more of the latter. But suffice to say, it's a very quiet place as well. Lots of greenery. And the safety is really good as well, since there's basically no industry in Salina. Most of it's outside on the highway here. So if I take a look, go ahead and zoom in on this. You can see, like, here's all the old school grid work from the original Salina proper. You got like a Tractor Supply. There's a bank. a cafe, and then it looks like a brewery of some sort, but it's otherwise all residential. And then there's like a school. There's really nothing going on there. And if we take a look here, all of this development for communities is going up. So it's going to be very quiet. The only people that are out there to live. You don't have to worry as far as safety goes. Now, I don't recall what Salina's school district is like. It's pretty average. This is typical with a lot of a smaller town. Wow, Jesus, struggling on resources there. This is pretty typical with a lot of small town school districts like this, because they don't have a lot of money injected into them. They struggle with certain things, like especially facilities tend to struggle in extracurriculars. But I'll say right now, this happened actually out in Forney, and in a couple of other areas that really kicked off is where once a ton of people started moving there and more money was injected into the economy, and especially the school district, it blossomed because they're going to build new facilities to accommodate all the new people. And I've actually seen they're doing a lot of construction down by the town hall for a new, I think it's a high school, maybe a middle school, some new schools going on down there, which means you're getting brand new facilities. A lot of times, more tenured, experienced, and better teachers end up in the new schools because they've got priority and they want to go somewhere nice, which means that a lot of your resources end up pushing the school district in a better direction. So while this may be a B+, which is honestly not bad for a small school district like this, I imagine that that rating is going to go up pretty quickly with how many people have started moving to the area. But that's just a little bit on Salina itself. There's really not a lot to talk about, so let's take a look at some of the houses and neighborhoods here, because we got Normandy homes. We've looked at enough Normandy and Taylor Morrison. Let's find somebody else. We've got Shattuck homes. Now, I like Shattuck because in their, I'll say this is a hillside, by the way. It's a nice little community. They got a couple of parks, nothing crazy or whatever, but I do want to show off Shattuck because, at least in their upper price range, Shattuck has phenomenal build quality. I do this thing I like to call the shake test on banisters whenever I'm walking upstairs. You know, you get a little decorative banister that's held on by like some wrought iron posts or something like that. You go ahead, just give it a little jiggle to see what the build quality is like. It's usually indicative of how good the craftsmen are, just at a glance. And Shattuck is one of the few, along with like maybe Chesmar, where I go in there and it's just like, it's like a rock. It doesn't move. Now, I have seen some stuff in some of their lower price ranges where I'm like, yeah, you guys could have done better. I know, because I know what you're capable of. But no, within this price range, you're getting a really solid house. They use really good materials, and you get nice decorative brickwork up here. I don't even know what this is. That's kind of cool. Chopped stone on the front. I like the natural wood look that they got going on throughout the whole thing. This looks like maybe a 50-foot lot, maybe even a 60. It's a little bit big. But yeah, 2-car garage. See, I like this. Everything's like, it's got like a hue to the house, but it's not overpowering, where if you wanted to put something even like maybe blue in here, it would still get along with it. Nice big curving staircase. It looks like they didn't put hardware on any of the cabinets over here. Sliding glass door, transom windows, nice big picture windows over here for the dining nook. Pretty simple fireplace, but I mean, hey, if you wanted to put like a TV or something up here, you don't have to deal with like masonry and stonework. So it gives you some options. I like that. So they did a decorative paneling on the island here, but it's subtle, so it doesn't have like any millwork or anything, but it's still got like texturing and everything to it. Even some crowns here up on the upper cabinets, and it looks like they did some under cabinet lighting here. And now this isn't a model home either, so this is like actual, end user they put under cabinet lighting in, which is really nice. A lot of builders don't do that. Yeah, it looks really good. I like it. This is like a dining area, it looks like. Come on, let's see the bathroom. Something cool. Double glass doors into your office space. We got a bedroom. All right, there's a secondary bathroom. I want to see like the master bathroom. All right, so we got the master bedroom right here. Some vaulted ceilings, nice big windows, plenty of them. Really long bedroom too. Okay, here we go. All right, that's interesting. I assume this is like your water closet with the toilet. You got like a shower, or what's it called? Like your actual clothes closet over here. Some light getting let in. Big shower enclosure. Kind of a sitting tub. That's interesting. And then the his and her vanities. I'm actually a big fan of the bathroom styles where you walk in here because it's almost like a presentation, especially whenever they put the bathtub in the middle and everything's just kind of symmetrical. I'm a bit of a nerd for symmetry, so stuff like this is really nice. It looks like they went hardwareless on the cabinetry there. Love it or leave it. And then big loft area up here, decorative ceiling touches. Nothing crazy. It looks like this one has a theater. But yeah, so for, I mean, geez, 3,600, almost 3,700 square feet, that's a big house. So if you just need square footage, man, that's a really nice way to go. But you're getting a lot of stuff like that. Let's see if we got another builder here. Coventry Homes. We haven't looked at any of theirs. So Coventry is a decent builder as well. And it looks like if you want to, yeah, you'd be shaving about 400 square feet off of what we just took a look at for about, what, $150,000 less. So Coventry has a more traditionalist style, so American traditionalist. So you got like the regular gabled roofing, just some decorative brickwork and everything, but nothing crazy going on here. It still looks really nice. A little more conservative, still decorative baseboards, nice high windows. You get the window sills and everything. It looks like even crown molding up here as well. Nice touch. Oh, I kind of like that, the triple door. And then this is your dining area. Come on, let's see the kitchen. I don't know what's up with these guys putting the photos in the weird layouts. But yeah, you get a little corner-style kitchen here, pantry, built-ins. You got decorative backsplash, a little crown here up on the upper, some transoms over your dining area. Sitting space here on the island. That's really popular. I'm a big fan of that because, like, if you make a mess having, like, say, a casual meal like breakfast or something, the kids come down, they're getting ready for school, and they're in a rush, so they make a mess, spill cereal or whatever all over the the counter. You don't have to, it's not like you're coming over there with a cloth to the kitchen table and like scooping it into your hand and taking it over to the trash can. You're just going to take that thing, get a rag, scoop it up here off of the island where they were eating and put it in the sink because it's right there. It's super convenient. Maybe that's just the lazy genius in me, but like that's where my mind immediately goes. I do like that. They tile it all the way up to the ceiling. I'm a big fan of the look because I'm not going to put my TV over the fireplace anyway, so that would just be my choice. I know some people like to do it over the fireplace, though, so to each their own. A little nook here for the TV if you didn't. And then, yeah, let's take a look at that master bathroom. Come on. I saw enough of these. But anyway, yeah, Coventry makes a really nice house if you enjoy that style. Master bedroom here, vaulted ceiling, the works. Okay, another galley-style bathroom. It looks like this one's kind of an offset where you get like his vanity, her vanity here with the makeup hutch, and then a built-in tub over here. Looks like they did a tile water line. That's interesting. And then the shower tucked away over here in the corner. Okay. Let's see if we can get one more because, dude, like if you're moving out to Salina, where there's not a lot going on, you really got to love your house. Oh man, perfect. American Legend Homes. So these guys, they actually have, so American Legend Homes is kind of like an upper mid-tier semi-custom builder, but they've got a luxury line called Grand Homes. I don't know if they're selling under Grand Homes or not in this neighborhood, but it's the same parent company. And so you get a lot of the really cool things from Grand Homes in American Legend Homes. And one of the things that builder loves to do is windows. They've got some really cool architectural stuff they do, but their notable thing is the fact that they put a ton of windows in their house. So you get a lot of natural lighting. So if you like bright, well-lit areas that just feel open and airy, this is the way to go. So for 3,100 square feet, you're looking at about upper sixes, $214 a square foot. But let's take a look at this because this, oh man, they don't have any photos of it. These are going to be representative, but we can get a little bit of a look at the layout here. So you walk into the foyer, you've got the study on the left, pretty typical. It looks like, and then you open up into the family room here with a cut across staircase. It looks like maybe a switchback of some sort. Master bedroom tucked away over here. Oh man, I was really hoping they'd have some photos of this. I want to talk you guys up. I can't even show people stuff. Let's see if they got another one. Here we go. This one's actually built out. Perfect. All right, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a huge fan of the big blank space on the facade. They could have done something like one of these little overhangs or something, because that's a lot of just brick. The rest of the house looks great, though. Like all this stuff, you got the decorative cutaways, the covering, the water line here with the chopped stone. It's just that one thing. All right, so as you come in, you get a nice tall 8-foot door. Like I said, with these high ceilings, you need an 8-foot door. Otherwise, it looks kind of weird. So I'm glad they did that. And here's what I'm talking about. Like, windows galore. Do you know how much glass that is? That's ridiculous. They actually, I spoke to some sales reps and the builders about this. They actually do, I think it's a 2x8s or something, some ridiculously large piece of wood on their exterior walls because of the fact that it has to hold up so much of the weight from this glass. But honestly, man, it looks nice. Big picture windows, just tons of light getting let in. Transoms up here. So even like once the sun is high in the sky, it just, and especially with how bright and light this area is, like it's just gonna look really nice. It's gonna look like a museum. Tumbler style cabinets. They did put hardware on all of this. Kitchen island's got like some decorative paneling and everything. They did like a white and gray look. I think this is like a stone backsplash or something, or like really long tile. I'm not exactly sure. Looks nice though. A little bit of texture without it being a different color. I'm a fan of that one, especially if you're trying to keep everything kind of the same color. So even in the master bedroom, tons of windows. Yeah, like I said, these guys just double down on the glass. They did the framed mirrors here, his and her vanity. I assume this is your closet over here, or one of the closets. Maybe it's the water closet. I don't know. I don't actually see where the toilet would go. Oh, it's over there. Gotcha. So you got your toilet back here, framed shower glass, built-in tub enclosure over here. I do like that they put the decorative paneling on here because a lot of times that also gives you access to like the plumbing without it being horribly obvious that that's an access hatch. And yeah, we got a secondary bathroom here, some of the bedrooms, tons of windows throughout all of them. It's really nice, yeah. And it looks like you got a loft up here. Again, more windows. It's crazy. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you just want light and bright, this is the way to go. A little decorative pop up there. Oh yeah, and we got a little theater space. I do like whenever they put the bar spaces in here, because even if you don't use it for like serving or drinks or anything like that, some people who may want like a projector setup, it gives you something really easy to mount it on without having to put like a hole in your ceiling. So if you want to put like a projector up here, or like even in the cabinetry, you could tuck it away. It gives you some options. And then one of the closets, I guess. They did kind of like a weird fisheye effect on this, but you do get a really good sized yard, especially for how big this house is, because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll get a really big house, and even if they have a big yard, it just eats up the entire, or a big lot, it just eats up the entire yard because their house is so massive. But it looks like here you still get almost 3,200 square feet and still some backyard space, which is nice. Yeah, you can fit like a trampoline, a slip and slide back there, no problem. But yeah, no, Salina is definitely a really good place to go if you want to get a lot more bang for your buck, which I know is getting harder and harder to do these days, which is why I kind of want to turn you guys on to this next one, because a lot of people, first of all, don't even know it's coming in. Second of all, it's in that school district I talked about that's in one of those top 5 that basically everyone goes to. And if you got a son or daughter that's a football nerd, you're going to want to put them in this school district because it's one of the best high school football programs in the Northeast Texas region, probably only rivaled by like one other. And this is actually going to be in Argyle. Now, to be fair, I'll tell you right now, there is not a lot going on in Argyle proper. It's kind of a small town feel, but it's got a lot of money in it for the little that is out there. So it's doing really good, and the schools have blossomed because of it. So we got Argyle right here, but this one's barely in Argyle. Actually, it may not. It's kind of splitting the road with another really nice town called Flower Mound. Now, Flower Mound is actually the town that I grew up in. It's right over here. It extends all the way out to 377, and then Argyle goes all the way down to, what is this, Cross Timbers Road. And where these two roads meet, this corner right here, and part of this over here is going to be a brand new community, and it's known as First Ranch. And that's not F-I-R-S-T. It's not the First Ranch. It's First F-U-R-S-T, like a name. Now, First Ranch is going to be right there at that intersection of 377 and 1171. This thing is going to be huge. Before I tell you a little bit about that, let's get a little bit more familiar with Argyle, because first of all, a lot of people love Argyle. The people that live in Argyle, it's like a culture over there, but it's not like it's not like a cult kind of culture. It's like one of those things where it's like they're proud of being in Argyle because it's really pretty. It's a lot of green space. If you're into like equestrian stuff, there's a lot of very livestock culture over there without it being too farmy. More like, big open green expanses. The high school's really good. There's a ton of money in the economy. The law enforcement's, again, really nice, really they're very well funded and everything. So safety is just phenomenal out there. A lot of people love living in Argyle as well. So let me just show you guys real quick on the schools. So Argyle ISD. Yep, A+ rated. Again, phenomenal. They even have good food apparently. Man, where was this when I was in high school? But yeah, no, like I said, their sports, phenomenal. Like easily one of the best in the Northeast Texas area. And if you don't know anything about Texas, high school football is like it's bigger than like college and maybe even the NFL in some areas. People go crazy over high school football in Texas. So if you're trying to be part of that culture, no better place to do it than here. But let's take a quick look at the actual like top down here. If I go satellite view on Argyle, you can see lots of green. So like I was saying, these are a lot of what's in Argyle are older houses. There are some new houses in Argyle, but not really a lot, which is why I want to point this next community out, the First Ranch, because it's going to be one of the biggest developments, if not the biggest development in Argyle. And it's going to be all new homes, crazy amenities, and some new schools as well. So a lot of those boons that I was talking about earlier with the new school situation, like kind of what's going to be going on in Salina, is going to be happening in a place that already has phenomenal schools. So if we take a look at it here, there's like really nothing but residents in Argyle. I will say there's like, see here we got the high school, I believe. Yeah, well, that's their middle school. I'm sorry. Their middle school right here. And then there's like this is like their little downtown area. They've got like some shops and restaurants, and it's got kind of like a old town feel to it. There's a little train that goes through there as well. You got a pharmacy, but really there's not much going on other than there's your high school right there. Or I'm sorry, that's the elementary school. Where's the high school? Shouldn't be missing it. It's huge. Is that it? That's probably it. Yeah. All right, so there's your high school. Like I said, really big for a town that's this this small. So you're getting a lot of facility per kid. Not hurting there. And like I said, since so much of it is like old land, it's just been really hard to break into for new houses. So whenever I heard that they were going to be doing a brand new development, and not just that, a master plan community in Argyle, my ears perked up. And a lot of people just kind of let that one, flatline and just ignored it as if that wasn't the biggest news in DFW history. But right down here, where there's absolutely nothing at the moment, is going to be First Ranch. Now, I've got the stats over here, so I'm going to take a quick hop, skip, and a jump. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you guys any homes on this one, but I did want to clue you into it because whenever the builders do start advertising, you're going to want to check out to see what they have. And we'll keep you abreast of all this stuff. So if you have any more questions as time goes on, maybe you're viewing this in a month or two and it hasn't popped off yet, but you want to know more about it, don't worry. I'm keeping my ear to the ground, so give us a call. But it's going to be over 2,300 acres, so projected to be more than 1,400, almost 1,500 homes at the moment, but I bet you that number is going to go up because that's just what's projected at the moment. A lot of developers will actually reserve a lot of extra green space, so that way they can do future development if things are going well. But that's just the residential portion. There's also going to be over 500,000 square feet of commercial development, including brand new schools like elementary, middle schools, and high schools, new offices, and retail. So if you know anything about the Lakeview in Flower Mound, which is right up the road from there, let me take a look at that real quick on the map so I can show you guys. But Lakeview... Is that actually going to show me? All right. Is it Lakeside? Oh, it is Lakeside. So Lakeside Village is like this big walkable community in Flower Mound right off of the lake. It's kind of built with like these big walkways in the middle of these shops that have condos over the top of it and office space. So you get commercial, you get residential, and you get like retail and things like that all kind of built into a walkable community. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of that in this development, because it's going to be, let's see, actually, I don't know if I have a photo of First Ranch development map. Okay, here we go. So I'm not sure how up to date this is, but this way we can get a quick glance at it, because I remember this was actually pretty old, if this is the same photo I'm thinking of. But you can see here there's going to be like all this green space reserved for like commercial development, things like that, and these are all going to be residential. So you can kind of get an idea. There's going to be a lot of commerce moved into this area as well. So if I hop back over here to my notes, so you guys can just actually take a look at it. Also, it's right next to a golf course, apparently. That's kind of cool if you're into that. Not a huge golf nerd. If you've ever seen me with like any kind of sports that involves a ball, I'm just so uncoordinated. It's awful. For how athletic I am, it's actually pretty embarrassing. But there is going to be over 450 acres of open space, including a 97-acre park. So it's going to have a huge park, very easily accessible to all this residents. So whenever you want to take the kids or the dog, or go have events with your friends, you've got a big open space to do it in. And it's going to completely change that 1171 corridor. So they're going to be revamping the infrastructure over there, widening the roads. And that means brand new infrastructure, as well as new greenery and things that they're going to be beautifying the area with. And like I said, brand new schools as well, all along the Canyon Falls Drive area. Which is going to be one of the brand new roads that goes up and through the residence there. So, and that's just what's planned at the moment. So we're not expecting to see home sales until probably 2026 at the earliest, this being October now of 2025. We're getting pretty close to pre-sales, which may be like late next year. At this rate. Otherwise, it may be 2027. But again, we don't exactly know. We're going to be keeping an eye on everything. And I wanted to let you guys know, because this is about as early warning as we can get for you guys as far as new communities go. And I didn't want y'all to miss this opportunity, because like I said, even in these upper price ranges, these master plan communities in these very desirable areas get prohibitively expensive very quickly, like we saw in Frisco and Prosper. And I know nobody wants to be the one to, the fear of missing out. Nobody wants to miss the bus. This is your opportunity to get in big. So wanted to make sure you guys had a finger on the pulse with this one. But at the moment, what I do want you guys to go check out is, since these are also going to be in your price range, go check out some of those other areas that I talked about in the other two videos in this series, just because they are definitely worth taking a look at, and they're going to have stuff in your price range as well. And we talk a little bit more about the area, so that way you guys can be most well informed. Otherwise, I want you to go ahead and check out this video where we talk about the top 10 things that can screw you when moving to Texas and buying a home. So that way you make sure you don't mess anything up whenever you make your journey to the Lone Star State. But otherwise, whether you're looking to buy or sell, remember to keep calm and call Tom.